Evening, everyone, and a warm welcome to all senior medical professionals and participants from all over the country. Today, Echo India will start COVID-19 educational webinar featuring national expert of eminence addressing concerns on prevention, transmission, home care management, vaccine preparedness, and clinical management of COVID-19. As the world continues to battle with multiple waves of COVID 19, misinterpretation has spread rapidly like the virus, and people around the globe have been looking for a trusted information source that provides scientific and fact based information. The pandemic has been the greatest challenge that the world has confronted in recent decades, and there has been a greater need for accurate and reliable information. Despite the severe constraints and within the limited sources, Echo India started this educational campaign to help to reiterate the awareness and message that COVID-19 vaccine is an immutable requirement. Our efforts underscore that will not defeat the pandemic unless all of us everywhere come out of it safely. With this note, I welcome our very own Dr. Sandeep Bhalla, Associate Vice President, Echo India, to take this session forward. Thank you. Over to you, Dr. Bhalla.
Thank you, Paramita. Very warm welcome, Dr. Sunila Garg, Madam, and all the healthcare professionals, those who have joined from the nooks and corners of our country today. As you all know, that we are passing through the very great crisis moment of the COVID, and the second wave of the COVID has already started in a very big way, and the disastrous situations all across country. ECO, the project, the ECO, we thought that there is a dire need that we should spread the awareness among the public and awareness among the healthcare professionals so that they can take the timely actions and evidence-based way. They can take the treatment of the patients also. Project ECO, that is Extension for Community Health Care Outcomes, began in 2003, started by our founder, Dr. Sanjeev Arora, the professor of medicine at University of Mexico, Albuquerque, with the intention to delivering the treatment to as many patients as possible. He created a case-based learning model to mentor local healthcare providers at New Mexico on how to treat this condition, how to treat the condition of hepatitis C. Today, it is a massive global movement of democratization of knowledge, and our presence is in more than 140 countries. We have put up a trust in India known as Eco India Trust, which is another not-for-profit organizations working with Project Eco towards building capacity in the areas of healthcare, education, and other, leveraging the four pillars of the Eco model, that is case-based learning, share best practices, amplification of the resources by using the technology, evaluation and monitoring outcomes. The chairman of Eco India Trust is Dr. Colonel Kumud Rai. He is also the director of vascular surgery at Max Hospital, Delhi. The executive director of Eco India is Dr. Sunil Anand. And we have a very dedicated team of around 150 colleagues working in Eco India in Delhi and supporting Government of India, various state governments in various capacity building initiatives. Since the end of March 21, India has been battling deadly second wave of COVID-19 and witnessing a surge of COVID-19 infections, with the country seeing over more than 3 lakh fresh cases of COVID daily. India saw a record of single-day rise of yesterday, more than 3.86 lakh cases in last 24 hours, which has pushed us in the total of more than 1.87 crores COVID cases. It's the second highest globally after the US and ahead of Brazil. While the death toll also crossed more than 2 lakh following the 3,498 fresh fatalities which occurred yesterday, the current fatality stands at 1.2%. Amid the massive surge in the second wave of COVID-19, which has caused a visible strain on the healthcare system, healthcare personnel in India have been trying to do their best under trying circumstances. Stressed to the breaking point, the pressure of work and the shortage of material during the second wave has caused deaths that could have been avoidable. Vaccination is very important intervention, but an impact on epidemiology can be had only after 2 doses, and a sizable proportion are vaccinated to give a guess at least 25 to 30%. As of now, around 2% have been given 2 doses. Stepping up vaccinations will not only affect the rise of, but it will definitely save many lives. Even as we battle the massive wave of COVID-19, it is important to take steps To avoid the next such wave, India needs to commit a much larger and faster investment to vaccine manufacturing. We at Eco India deeply value and appreciate the role of everyone, especially the healthcare workforce, to combat this growing burden. As we fight with this pandemic together, we are pleased to announce that Eco India is starting today a COVID-19 webinar educational series. The aim of this webinar educational series is to address the concerns on the prevention, transmission, clinical management, home care management, vaccination preparedness, vaccination hesitancy, and the management of the comorbid conditions. Today, we have none other than to take the kickstart of this journey, that is vaccine preparedness and hesitancy, which is going to be the first topic of our webinar series. We have none other than but very eminent national expert available with us, Dr. Sunila Garg. Madam is currently the Professor of Excellence at Department of Community Medicine, Maulana Azad Medical College. He is the member of Lancet Commission COVID India Task Force. He has more than 40 years of professional research experience. He was the ex-head of community medicine, Maulana Azad Medical College, national president of Indian Association of Preventive and Social Medicine, as well as OMAC, which is the consortium of 16 medical associations, including AIIMS Delhi and NCDC, advisor to Indian Council of Medical Research and member of Task Force of Department of Biotechnology.
Thank you. I think we can.
So you can see him, you can see her in all the various government committees. And I would request Madam to kindly help us in updating about this with this topic, which is vaccine preparedness and hesitancy, because this is the need of an hour. Over to you, Madam.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sandeep and Paramita. And I will also like to say my thanks to Colonel Kumud Roy and Colonel Rana, because it is very, very important that at this juncture, Eco India is starting with this educational series, because none other than, the educational series can bring about a change, because I can see that there are a lot of concerns in the minds of people as tomorrow we embark on a new journey of the vaccination for 18 to 45 years of age, and already we have vaccinated about 15 crore individuals, but still we could see that there was a lot of apprehension, concerns, though we started with the healthcare providers, but I see that more educated one is, more are the concerns as well. So these concerns over a period of time have gone ups and downs, have faced ups and downs. So I feel that it is so very important basically to understand the whole issue of vaccines, because now is the time that we have to go ahead with the vaccination very fast. And as I say, MTV, that is masking, testing, treating, tracking, and vaccination. These are the three key things, which will help us in addressing the issue of COVID-19, ultimately what we have to see. But definitely, as Dr. Bhalla has mentioned, that we are in the midst of second wave, which is much more harsher, which is much more, it has got a lot of mortality also, and it is affecting the people of the younger age group. So that is very, very important that we understand that vaccine will come as a savior now. People who have been vaccinated and who have got infection now, we are also aware of that fact that people are getting infection as well after the vaccination, but they are suffering from really milder kind of infections, which does not require hospitalization. So my urge to all the dear participants is that please go and disseminate this message. Each one talks to 10, and that's how we motivate people, and see that whatever opportunity you have, you can come and get people to the vaccination point or refer them to the vaccination point. This will be one of the most important kind of weapon in our fight against COVID. So with this, I would like to start my presentation. So we will be talking about the vaccine preparedness, and we are all aware of the fact that we'll be looking at some of the COVID-19 symptoms, precautionary behaviors. But before that, I would like to give you a little this thing about how much burden we are facing in India. Then what are the COVID-19 symptom, precautionary behaviors, and all that. And then we further go ahead with also the elements of COVID vaccine confidence, other challenges in the vaccination drives, and we have to build trust. Actually, that is one thing which is most important, that we have to build trust in the vaccination amongst general population. So already, it was mentioned by, Dr. Bhalla also, that primarily we have got, basically number of active cases are about 30,84,814. And active cases are comprising of 16.79% of the population. But the good point is that we have got 82% discharge rate as well. So we have got, that is one thing which you must keep in mind. But at the same time, we do have deaths, which is accounting for 2 lakh, 4,832. So these are some of the important points. And also we have to keep in mind that despite our population, is huge, we have been able to only do vaccination to 15 crore individuals, out of which approximately 1 crore individuals have received, the Covaxin, and the rest of them have received the Covishield vaccine. But we have got very little, completely immunized individuals. So that is important part which you have to remember. Another thing which I just want to say is that primarily, as was shown by Dr. Sandeep, and mentioned also, that you see the United States of America has got 3.3 crores, you can say approximately. This is where you can see this. And yesterday, we got, approximately 59,269 cases. And we were doing very well till quite some time, I will say till about March beginning. But now we are 1.8 crore individuals. And then, we have got new cases. Yesterday was 3,86,888, with total deaths being about, 2,08,313. And yesterday we added to 3,501. And we also have recoveries to the tune of 1.5 crores. But then you see, nonetheless, we have to be very, very cautious about, now the number of cases, the way they are rising so very fast. So, what is the important weapon with us? So important weapon with us is that primarily we have to see that we have some tool with which we can control the disease. So as I said, that masking, testing, treating is on one hand, which is totally dependent on us, and totally dependent upon the treating and tracking part depends upon the administration, but we have to be very cooperative. But at the same time, we have to see that, we go ahead for vaccination. And as I have tried to show you or apprise you with different kinds of data, and I will just give you only a flavor of, 2-3 slides that, in Andaman Nicobar, like we have got 143, and change since yesterday is about, basically it is more than 7 cases we have got. Andhra Pradesh, or you can look at Chhattisgarh, we have got 1,18,846, and we are down by 222. So this is something which is, more helpful towards us. That is what it is. But then if you look at the cumulative part, we have gone ahead, by 15,506. So the whole slide shows that we have to be cautious about these numbers. Delhi has got 3,424, with the change since yesterday by increase in 5,160. Similarly, look at the figures of Gujarat. I have taken only those states where you see it is important to look at. I'll just wait for 1 second, and into I'm in meeting. So if you will look at the states of Karnataka and all, we have got, 3,28,903. Similarly, Kerala also, and both the states, so see, when you talk of Karnataka or you talk of Kerala, we have got upward rise in number of cases. Similarly, if you look at Maharashtra, which has created all the records, though we started with Maharashtra, with the figure of 13,000 some cases, and now, we have got 6 lakhs 75,451, with a change in yesterday's by the point of 1,093 cases. And overall, also cumulative, you can see that primarily we are talking of 37 lakh 30,729, with the total overall increase of 61,181. So what does it indicate? It indicates that every day we are increasing the number of cases, and particularly top 10 states, which I already showed you. But we also are going to face the problems in the states of Odisha, which is rapidly following the other states also. So it is very important to look at, out of which some of the states are the ones which we already had, like Mumbai, now the surge in Delhi. But then another part is that we also had election bound states where the surge in cases is quite very rapid. And another state which we have to look at is state of Tamil Nadu. Again, the southern states are the ones which are also contributing to a huge chunk of the burden of the disease. And overall, when we talk of, we have got 3,84,814. So that is one thing which is very, very important part, which are and the change since yesterday is about 1,06,105. So that thereby it calls for the need for the effective strategies which we have already mentioned. Now, if you look at the number of states in terms of active cases, we are all aware of Maharashtra. In terms of active cases are 7,01,614. Uttar Pradesh has got 2,59,810. Karnataka 1,96,255. Kerala, we used to give the example of best practices, but as I said, that human behavior is something which is very, very important. Whether you talk of vaccination, whether we talk of the masking, testing, treating, and tracking part. So the moment your guard is down, so Kerala is one example of where the guard has gone down and where we have seen the number of cases to rising very, very fast. And Chhattisgarh also, we have got 1,21,555. So, and these are the if we need to look at the ranking of the states, also we look at the number of deaths as well. Maharashtra 62,479, then Karnataka 13,885, Tamil Nadu 13,317, Delhi 13,193, and West Bengal 10,766. Now, if you look at, when we had a dig at the data from the CoWIN platform with regard to vaccination, we are all aware of that. We have got total number of individuals, who have got, first dose is approximately, 12.2 crores. And second dose has been administered to 2.4 crore individuals. So nearly 15 crore individuals people have been administered, but you see the chunk of where is 12 crores and where are 2 crore individuals. So, and total doses administered yesterday were basically to the tune of 18,47,495, and adverse events following immunization, which were quite very rare events, they were 19,654, but they are the ones who should not account for vaccine hesitancy. Out of these, you will see that majority of the doses, when we talk of majority of the doses, are the ones which are Covishield doses, because as of now India has got only two vaccines. One is Covishield, another is Covaxin. Covishield is there on the adenovirus platform, and Covaxin is the one which is an inactivated vaccine that is there. But then if you have to look at, we look at basically if we are looking at 13 crore individuals, they have received Covishield doses, and about 1.3 individuals have received Covaxin doses. And in the age group 45 to 60 years, because we began with the healthcare workers, we began with frontline workers, then we moved on to people 45 to 60 years of age. It is 46% of this thing. And then 35 to 40 years of age, about 8%, and 60 years it is about 42%. So that is the status of immunization as of today. And when we move forward, that means when we move forward towards the 18 to 45 years of age group, then this is only right now when we are talking of this chunk, this talks about people who are in the category of healthcare workers. Rest of them could be either healthcare workers, frontline workers, people who are suffering from comorbidities, and also that is important part which you have to see. Another thing which you have to see is that this is the state-wise vaccination updates from CoWIN, because I will be leaving the presentation here and you can study it in depth. Like we have got, in Andamans, 91,330, second dose administered to 10,301. So adverse events following immunization is only one. And these are all minor, events which are there. Then you see, when we look at primarily the state of, Andhra Pradesh, again, we have got state-wise, distribution of vaccination. So this is a very useful slide. Have a look at this slide, state by state, so that, one can have a look at, because this I brought to, catch your attention as to, we are analyzing the data as to, state by state, and we need to look at how, we are getting this vaccination information from CoWIN platform. That is, nothing but a modification of, even platform which we are utilizing for electronic vaccine intelligence network, which we have been utilizing in cases of children as well. So these are some of the important things which you need to remember. So the fourth part is talking about Assam, where we are, looking at the number of first and second doses. So you've got that 17,61,335, and the second dose administered to 4,74,000. So you can see that, roughly second dose is approximately 1/4. In Arunachal Pradesh, even it is almost, you can say, 3 point, little above than 1/4 of the things. So these are some of the things which you have to keep in mind. Now, then we have got data with regard to Bihar, Chandigarh, Dadra, Nagar Haveli and all that. But you see that despite the state being, we call it as a state which is lagging behind in all the parameters, but has done very well in terms of, the vaccination with regard to first and second dose. 57 lakhs have received, first doses, and basically about, 10 lakh have received second doses. So we have got roughly 67,000 lakh 54,997. So these are the number of doses. Similarly, we have got Chandigarh, and then, the Dadra, Nagar Haveli and all of that. So this is, you can look at the vaccine, and always, we have categorized the data according to the dark maroon color is Covishield vaccine, and the lighter color is your Covaxin. So we have got the data, but also in some of the states like Chandigarh, it's only, Covaxin which is available. So primarily you can also see in Dadra, Nagar Haveli and all, we got only, in Chandigarh, we have got maroon color vaccine. This is a Covishield vaccine. And similarly, in Dadra, Nagar Haveli also we got Covishield vaccine, because it happened because, when we started with the vaccine, it was mentioned that primarily we were all, struggling with the efficacy part from the 16th of January, and quite a number of people, they mentioned that, since Covaccine's efficacy is not mentioned. So that was one of the major reasons for vaccine hesitancy at that point of time. And quite a number of central government institutions, they started vaccinating with Covaxin, because we were all aware of the fact, and all trials were conducted in India. And we knew through all the stages of trial that we had much less adverse events, and vaccine trial was never stopped at all with regard to Covaxin. So that is some of the, important thing which you have to keep in mind. So then the second thing is that we need to also look at, primarily the, in the, different states, you can look at the data also. This is, I got this added slides so that you can make out, something out of the data with regard to, the vaccine administration in different states. So these are some of the important things which you need to keep in mind. Then we have got also, other states up till Kerala over here. So please have a look at that. So Jammu Kashmir, then we have got Kerala and all that. If you look at even, first dose of Kerala, we are looking at 59,67,821. And, the second dose is, basically we are talking of 11 lakh doses. Similarly, if you look at the peripheral state like, Ladakh and all that, we all are aware of the fact that basically we have got, every state has got the, every state basically has got either Covishield, Covaxin and all that, but all the states have got, the vaccination. That is important thing to remember. Now, so these are the data which are talking about Manipur, Meghalaya, Assam, and Nagaland. So that way the data is there for everything. And thank you, Paramita, for putting all this together. Now you look at the state of, Delhi, where we have got, 25,11,987 receiving the first dose, and the second one who received the second dose has been received by 6,35,132. Delhi has got approximately 2 crore population, and we have got, but our proportionate number of cases are very high. And here also, whenever you will go state by state, you will find that, how many doses have been totally administered, that like 31,47,119, but doses administered today have been 30,976. That means we are talking of updated last is 28th April. And again, we have got, the data with regard to 45 to 60 years of age in Delhi. You can look at 49%, 18 to 30 years are healthcare workers, 5%, 30 to 45 years, 10%, and 60 years plus is 35%. So these are again the data. I'm not going to go state by state into different diseases, but then we also have to see that I talked about Covaxin, I talked about Covishield, that these are the 2 doses vaccines which are there. Number 2 point is that both the vaccines are the ones which are given by intramuscular route. Initially, we had an interval of 28 days, but now basically we are spacing Covishield to the tune of 8 to 12 weeks and Covaxin to the tune of 6 weeks, so that we can get optimal utilization and optimal seroconversion. But another thing which you have to keep in mind is that basically the more you space the vaccine, more is going to be the antibody response. So also, in addition to that, always remember one thing, that India is not going to, have only 2 vaccines. Our population is very huge. So we will be requiring much more than 2 vaccines. So that is why Government of India, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare has fast-tracked the emergency use authorization. What is emergency use authorization? Through bridge trial. That means that the vaccines which have been used in another country, we are going to use the vaccines in our country after what we call it as, this is known as bridge trial. So we will be using this vaccine in much smaller quantity for a period of a week, and then subsequently we'll be going ahead with the vaccine on a larger scale. So this is being done. Why? Basically, we want to widen the choice of the vaccines which are available, because we have got large surge or steep surge in number of cases. Second thing which you have to remember is that basically, now we are also facing the mutant strains also. So very soon we will have to look at whatever vaccines which are available. That is important. And now Drug Controller General of India right now, to begin with, has given approval to Russia Sputnik 5 emergency use approval, and which will, be opened up from the for the drive, and we will be getting roughly about 100 million doses over a period of time. Starting from tomorrow, the vaccines will arrive in India, and gradually they will be opened up, basically for the public. And these are the bridging trials. That means the vaccines are being used, in different countries, including Russia, but then, and also has an efficacy of more than nearly around 95%. And, they are the Sputnik vaccine is the one which we have got, on a priority basis in Indian context. So that is where we have to remember that part. Now, another part is that we are also not only looking at Sputnik vaccine, we are looking at Novavax, we are looking at Johnson and Johnson's single dose vaccine. Now trials are going on with regard to, the nasal sprays which are there from the sanitized companies and all that. So, how can we overcome hesitancy? My dear friends, all of you will remember that first of all, in order to overcome hesitancy, first of all, why the hesitancy was there? Because we as healthcare providers, we thought that basically when we have hesitancy, at that point of time, it was the main reason which was responsible was that first let one doctor take, I will follow. Let the healthcare worker, ex-healthcare worker take, then let me see how the results are. Because we were all, kind of waiting for the vaccines. But when the vaccines came, we all thought that why when the vaccine has come, but then, why it has come so fast? Because we had overcome all the, barriers or hassles or the bureaucratic channels, which, because I myself have been involved in conducting a lot of trials, which I know that each trial takes, at least 4 to 5 years minimum, whether we talk of drug trial, whether we talk of vaccination trial and all that. So it is basically, one of the reasons was the fastness at which the vaccinations have come. Now our solutions should focus on communicating effectively using evidence-based information to counteract messages that misinform public. So initially we were dealing with a lot of messages which misinformed public. Still we have got that kind of, misinformation. So that is where we need to look at. Then we have to address the lack of trust or reach people with the trusted beneficiaries who have vaccinated, rather than trying to throw facts and science at the people. And then combating the spread of false information related to vaccination is one of the basic objectives of vaccine hesitancy as well. And showing cultural humility is vital to gaining trust of the population. Whatever information we have to pass to the people, at the same time we have to see that we have to have some sensitivity in context of cultural direction, which is going to gain the trust of the population. So if we look at, the COVID-19 vaccines, symptoms and precautionary behaviors, we all know, all of you, my dear friends, are aware of that people may present with cough, shortness of breathing, difficulty, shortness of breath or difficulty in breathing. Also, somebody may present with, fever or chills. And let me here tell you that all of you, whosoever are attending this session will agree with me that now we are seeing changing paradigm of, the symptoms which are there. So that means we are talking of people are not only presenting with cough, shortness of breath. Some people are only presenting with loss of smell. Some people are only presenting with, some kind of a rash. Some people are now presenting only with vomiting or diarrhea, or some people are presenting with muscle or body ache. So there is a kind of a syndrome which we are looking at. It can be cough, shortness of breath, difficulty in breathing, along with, vomiting, diarrhea, along with, the muscle or body ache. So today, when people present with any of these symptoms, we have to think first of, COVID-19, and then, we have to start working on. And please remember that even RT-PCR may be negative, though being a gold standard. We are also getting now the cases where RT-PCR is negative. Now, what are the symptoms of second wave of COVID-19? The second wave, basically is, all of you are aware of that, it is impacting younger population, and it is taking a hit on vital organs. That means the person may present with the, kind of a heart involvement, may present with the, and predominant involvement is involvement of the lungs or pulmonary damage, and it is leading people in the need of crucial support, including oxygen therapy. And apart from, the above symptoms, others may include, shortness of breath and, or, we are talking about, which is caused by oxygen deprivation, or, some people may directly present with COVID pneumonia. And this is how, when, you are not able to get anything, but you directly subject the person to CT X-ray. So you find that, that you get wool-like exudates in the both sides of the lung. So that is where that can be also sometimes the only way of diagnosis, and it can be, RT-PCR negative. Then chest pain and lethal lung damage, which is caused by widespread inflammation, breathing difficulties and oxygen deprivation. It can also be, very dry, harsh cough, which does not produce phlegm. So the person becomes breathless, and that's why we say that, that you can give, steroid in the form of, you inhale them, you can get through, so that's where we need to look at, that this will respond to, the inhalers, which are, containing steroids. Then, the virus can cause blood clots. And today, we had a unfortunate death of one of the TV anchors, and he suffered from the COVID-19 infection along with the heart problem. So probably it was blood clot which led to, the death of the person, and this could cause further increase in blood pressure and cause multiple clots, because the virus has got thrombotic property, inflammatory property. So basically, it can, and it is also immunogenic in nature. So these are the basic nature of the due to nature of the virus, we can get all these, whether we talk of pneumonias, whether we talk of inflammation, breathing difficulties, and all of that. So we all are aware of that, COVID appropriate behaviors. That is, first I started with the M, that is mask. And then once you wear mask and all that, you don't have to touch the mask at all. In any way, do not touch your eyes, nose and mouth unless your hands are sanitized. And then this is a very common feature of do gaz ki duri. That means maintain a physical distance of at least 6 feet. You have to wash the hands regularly with soap and water or with sanitizer. And I will always prefer that, because when we have got sanitizer in smaller quantities, we tend to use very little. So it is very important to wash your hands thoroughly with soap and water. And please use thoroughly, so that, up till the wrist, you wash your hands thoroughly. And when you cough or when you sneeze, it is important that you avoid spitting in open. And here you can see the picture that basically, then this virus is going to be there in the air for quite some time. And now we are talking of airborne transmission as well. Then prompt testing on observing of the symptoms, and then isolation on observing the symptoms. And then two things what you have to remember is, one is isolation, the second thing is quarantine. Now, what is the difference between the two? In isolation, the person is, basically supposed to be suffering from the problem. But in quarantine, there is some person who has come in contact with this fellow, and then after some time, but we are not very sure that this person will get the infection or not. So that period we call it as quarantine as well. So primarily, we have got, as of now, we have got 2 COVID-19 vaccinations, which have been given, by, FDA emergency use authorizations. So these are the vaccines which have gone through different phases of trials. And in phase 3 trials, Covishield has completed, phase 3 trial in UK, and then bridging trial in India. But when we talk of Covaxin, all the trials have been done, including the animal studies in Indian context. If we look at, Covishield, which is AstraZeneca's vaccine, it has been manufactured by Serum Institute of India. It is 70% effective. Now, and it is also a vaccine which is there on adenovirus vector platform. And that is, which is, chimpanzee is the vector which we are using it. And then Covaxin is the one basically which is manufactured by Bharat Biotech. And this vaccine is 70% effective. And now, they say that if you space about, more than, 8 weeks to 12 weeks, then, the effectivity becomes to nearly 80% also. Both the vaccines are 2 doses vaccine, and people vaccinated, fully vaccinated are the ones who have to complete 2 doses of the vaccine. And in cases of Covaxin, the second vaccine should be taken after again 6 weeks. Earlier, we used to talk that both the vaccines should be taken 4 weeks apart. It helps us in 2 ways, that we want that if after 1 dose, that majority of the persons have already got 50% of the immunity, which will also protect you against the disease, considering the nature of, the case fatality rate and a secondary attack rate, which is so very high. So it is important that we need to look at Covishield, though here it is 6 to 8 weeks, but if we space it to 12 weeks also, it is very, very effective, because we also saw that in trials which were completed in UK, there, primarily we were looking at, that number of doses had finished for the second vaccine, for the second dose. So some people we vaccinated after 6 weeks, some after 8 weeks, and then some after 12 weeks. The people who had received vaccines after 12 weeks, the second dose, we saw the maximum seroconversion in them. It was just a chance observation, but it was not meant to be a part of the trial. But we were, over with the vaccine. So it is important to look at that. Now, about the, basically all the vaccines, whether you talk of childhood vaccination, whether you talk of this adult vaccination, flu vaccination, pneumococcal vaccination, or the COVID-19 vaccination, there are some side effects. Now, some of the side effects which some of you, I expect that in this gathering, most of you would have received, at least first dose of the vaccine. And I can see the side effect of Covaxin may include, pain at the site of injection, warmth, redness, itching, swelling or bruising. It can be stiffness in the upper arm, weakness in the injection arm, body ache. Then we can look at, fever, weakness, rashes, nausea, vomiting. And there is a slim chance of vaccine which causes severe allergic reaction. The signs of severe adverse events, they include difficulty in breathing, swelling of face and throat, then, fast heartbeat and rashes all over the body, dizziness and weakness. So that is important. And common side effect of Covishield are also, they will include the same, but primarily, along with that, you see pain, warmth, redness, itching, swelling, and bruising where the injection is given. That can also happen with Covaxin. General feeling of being unwell and feeling feverish and headache and joint pain. So these are common, but we also are aware of the fact that, that we have to be worried about, either the person may suffer from a symptom like a Guillain-Barré syndrome or, multiple, neurological manifestations, which these are serious effects of the vaccine, but which particularly, when we talk in relation to Covishield vaccine, but then, fortunately, we have not observed any of this in the Indian trials, whatever vaccines, we have given. And some deaths were also reported, but they were not related to the vaccine itself. So phase 1, we launched in February 16, where we are all aware of that, we did, why did we, prioritize our healthcare workers and frontline workers? Because we were very sure that these healthcare workers are going to deal day in and day out with the COVID-19 patients, which is happening now also. And there are definite chances of higher infection in them. So that's where we wanted to look at. Phase 2 was initiated from March 1 and focusing on protecting most vulnerable people who are above 45 years of age. And then, and they are the ones who suffer from comorbidities also. Then phase 3, we are going to launch from tomorrow. We are going to look at population above 18 years of age to 45 years of age. So that is another thing which we are looking at. So also here, I will say one more thing, that primarily when we are starting from tomorrow, one thing which, and also most likely, in all probabilities, we will be starting from 3rd, because quite a number of vaccination centers across Maharashtra and are, closed for tomorrow and day after tomorrow also. So that's why, but nonetheless, we are going ahead, basically for this vaccine. So phase 1, remembers January 16, healthcare workers, frontline workers. Phase 2, we are talking about, protecting most vulnerable, and phase 3, emphasizing on protection of population above 18 years of age. Now, elements of vaccine confidence are the ones, basically first, an important element of vaccine confidence is vaccine hesitancy. Only 42% of the population in the country, remember that, out of, we are 137 crores, and if you take even 80% of that, that will be nearly, when we talk of 80 crore individuals, out of them only 42% are the ones who are willing to take. Now factors which are accepting the which are affecting the acceptance of the vaccine could be side effects. People are scared of that, something may happen to me, and all the minor side effects I have just showed you. And then also, people are more worried that even people are getting infection after the vaccination also. And also we have got, lack of data. Only 13% citizens had access to information regarding vaccination centers. So that is most important when you are talking about vaccine hesitancy. Please remember that vaccination centers are already there on the CoWIN platform. Then fake rumors about the vaccine, that vaccine may cause this, vaccine may cause, quite a number of side effects, vaccine may not be effective, vaccine is, kind of something to, given to just overcome, the immediate problem, but it is not effective. Then another thing is that there is lot of indifference or misinformation from the anti-vaccination groups. then sudden adverse events following immunization, deaths and all that, because if there is a death which may be otherwise happening, but normally we attribute it first to, the vaccine itself, which is very, very long. Then the logistic issues, that is delay in delivery or other, local triggers, these are also very, very important. Then another thing is also that as we are going ahead with the vaccination drive, and there was a response from the states also that we must go faster with the vaccination drive. And we knew that, now the percentage of Indians, we started with vaccine hesitancy, only 42% were willing to take, but now, the percentage of Indians, who is willing to take the vaccine has increased to 77%. And the percentage of vaccine hesitancy is being replaced by proportionate degree of vaccine eagerness in the general population, which could lead to far bigger problem in the hands of government. So that is another important thing which you have to remember. Then besides this, there are other challenges also in the vaccination drive. As you know, most of the times you would have heard that, the data cannot be uploaded on the CoWIN platform, or you're not able to get the appointments. But remember that, basically when we started with the immunization program, all the workers were told, because we are aware of these internet issues and all that, so that those workers were told that you have got the hard copies, you fill the data in that, and then, basically fill this information after the net comes. The worker which are posted over there are given the unique ID so that they can open this platform and they can start working on it. Because you see, verification of the individual becomes very, very important. And, you have to use a government approved ID for, approving, for primarily identifying the individuals. And also we need to look at that at the centers, many centers, because India is so very vast, may not have, water, or, police force is not there. So, there's a kind of a lack of faith in the system. And then another thing which we also are which we are observing now, is that substantial number of people are the ones who may get the infection at the point of vaccination because of not following appropriate COVID, not following COVID appropriate behaviors. Because we know that the mask is down, they have to wait for half an hour after the vaccination, because once you verify your identity, then you get your vaccination. Somebody is going to, after your, verification of identity at the CoWIN platform, you are given the vaccination. After that, basically, after getting the vaccine, you are supposed to be observed for half an hour. And that's where you see the distance while you sit and wait is very important between two individuals. That is the Gaj ki duri, what we say. And also we say that, primarily your mask should be up. So that is one thing which is important. And now, primarily, it's not only the time when we are vaccinating individuals, we are managing individuals. So lack of workforce also, because they themselves are suffering from COVID-19 infection, that is also there. Vaccine doses has to be entered very, very correctly. That means, we have to see, first of all, we have to enter the number of doses correctly, because you see, there was a point when we said that 1,60,000 doses are not missing. But what we realized was that these people were not entered. So that is where we need to see that after the vaccination is over, each and every dose, because Covishield is a 10-dose vial, Covaxin is a 20-dose vial. So we have to see that everything has to be entered correctly, because we are getting the vials now. But we also have to take into consideration whatever is the wastage factor. And then under and overestimation of vaccination data in terms of population being covered, basically, this is one thing which will also lead to incorrect information. So it is very important that you must take that many number of vaccines to the vaccination point as per your estimates. And nowadays we started with 100 people being immunized in a day, and then we went on to 200 people. Now beneficiaries, they get SMS for the results much earlier, while the doctors, they receive sample reports much later. That means primarily we have to, the moment your chance you have registered, you will, basically be getting the SMS. But at the vaccination points, the reports are coming much later. So that is one thing which is important to remember. Another thing, one thing which you must remember also, that before giving the vaccination, we are not doing RT-PCR testing. So even if we are checking only for fever, but remember that the person may be asymptomatic and he may get the vaccination also. And so that's why correct history is very important at the vaccination point. That is there a person who is presently suffering from COVID-19 infection in your house? Did you suffer from fever and all that? So this information becomes very, very important. Now, so what are the strategies to manage crisis resulted to which are related to vaccine hesitancy? So for this, we have got a very good communication strategy by Government of India on vaccine hesitancy. So what is this communication strategy? Communication strategy is supporting COVID-19 vaccine rollout in India. And then we have to disseminate correctly and accurately and transparent information about the vaccine. Like if we have got, Covishield vaccine, Covaxin, Sputnik vaccine, mRNA vaccines like Moderna or Pfizer vaccines, or like Johnson and Johnson vaccine, because all these vaccines are on different platforms. So ultimately, all of them, they are stimulating the immune response, but the mechanism of action remains little different. So that's why we need to give a timely, accurate, and transparent information. The strategy also, basically, when we talk of communication strategy, we also seek to build trust and enable greater confidence in COVID-19 vaccine amongst all people by employing transparency in communication and managing any misinformation or rumors. Now, so what is the aim of communication strategy? We want to basically mitigate any potential disappointment expressed by unmet demand by, basically for the vaccine or eagerness amongst people. We have to address hesitancy which could arise, which you are seeing commonly. And so many of you would have seen that people are hesitant to go for the vaccine because of myths and misconceptions. Then also you have to provide information on the potential risk and mitigate unintended crises. That means adverse events following immunization. There are clusters and clusters of people in the population where a lot of rumors are there. And also we have to see that, that vaccination, once the state has taken into consideration and given the requirement to the government, there it is important that your number of doses are correctly calculated. Number two, you have set up the vaccination points. So make sure that the vaccine will reach all the vaccination points. So that is where, when during the introduction and rollout, this calculation we have done with regard of to childhood vaccination also. So vaccination must reach the vaccination point so that, it can meet the needs of the people. Okay. Now, what is the strategy for building trust in the vaccine? One is you can use the social influence or endorsements from experts and official voices. You already heard our, different people taking the vaccines with the start of that. Establishment of national media response cell, basically at Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, to ensure preparedness through media monitoring and social listening. And you must respond in real time. And unfold media and public discourse through extensive monitoring of print, electronic, and digital media. And you must involve community mobilizers, frontline workers to engage with the community at various levels. So through community consultations, faith leaders, and religious meetings, it is very, very important to involve, basically you have to do, consultations with the community, religious leaders, faith leaders, so that they can mobilize people. Because, any misinformation through any of the faith leader or through religious meetings, can, prove very, very counterproductive for the vaccination uptake. And you have to engage youth and civil society organizations, self-help groups, panchayats, and other community-based platforms. So it is very important that you have to build trust in the vaccine through your social influence, through your media response cells, and also you must involve the community mobilizers and frontline workers as well. Now, another thing which you need to look at, now what is the objective of your strategy? You ensure that all people are receiving the vaccine with confidence, all people get correct information, they're not influenced by misinformation, disinformation, or myths or misconceptions. Hesitancy is addressed on COVID-19 vaccination process. We have to provide, every time information which is correct and consistent and timely information on the existing vaccination and the new COVID-19 vaccination, generate awareness and understanding of the phased approach of prioritizing the target groups, and address the low risk perception of infection amongst people, and build an enabling environment to adopt and maintain COVID appropriate behavior to reduce the risk of infection. We should make sure that our vaccination points should not become hotspots for infection. So that is important. So everybody should receive the vaccine with confidence that myths and misconceptions are cleared. Then we also have to talk about the hesitancy. You have to see the safety of the vaccine, their availability, and they are available, in the timely manner. And we have gone ahead in a phased manner. So that is what we are following. So target audiences are our, healthcare workers, frontline workers. Now we are talking of everybody. People are over 50. Now we are talking of people under 50. National media, including traditional and digital media, civil society organizations and professional bodies. Then, basically our MLAs and all, they play a very, very critical role for this. And then also we have to see that, we do the advocacy at all levels, including academia and other alternative professional people and medical professionals, the practitioners. These are very important. So our target audiences, right from civil society to healthcare workers to media people to our MPs, MLAs, they all form our recipients, academic bodies. So they are the ones which will play a critical role. So our main important components are, if we have to address COVID-19 vaccine eagerness, trust and confidence, we have to have the advocacy, we have to build the capacity in the individuals, we have to do media engagement, we have to do social mobilization, and most important is also adverse events following immunization crisis communication. We need to work on that part also. Now, what are the key components? So primarily, as I said, you have to involve maximum number of people, involve your parliamentarians, involve the Prime Minister who is actively leading from front, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare and line ministries in the central government and their field level networks, professional bodies. We are already aware of that, different professional bodies like IMA, OMAG, doctors and healthcare workers and alternative medicine practitioners, Rotary and Lion Club are actively involved. Then local and national media representatives and public and private sector companies, they are also actively involved. Then our developmental partners, civil societies, community-based organizations, NGOs, faith-based organizations, they are the ones which play a very, very critical role. And then we also have to build the capacity of the stakeholders, how they will carry on the information. So information, education, communication officers at all levels need to be informed. Our developmental partners need to be informed totally about the vaccination. You have to see that, whether there are officials from Panchayati Raj institutions or human resources from municipal bodies, urban development, Ministry of Women and Child Development, Labor Department or Railways. So that way we have to involve all the key officials, and then, with faith-based organizations, community-based organizations, frontline workers, influencers, volunteers, Panchayati Raj institutions and self-help groups, they play a very, very critical role in doing the, once you do a capacity building in them, because each one of them has got to be very much aware of, the vaccination process. So that is how we tell them through correct knowledge that these are our important stakeholders. So, at the national level, first when we started rollout of the program, we did the training, correct training of the information, education and communication officers for, complete information on COVID-19 vaccine. Then we developed a module basically on social mobilization and interpersonal communication for all the frontline workers, ASHA, ANMs, Anganwadi workers and all that, and so that can be adopted at the, not only at the, central level, but at the state level. And within this, we involved Panchayati Raj institutions, self-help groups, religious leaders, NSS, Nehru Yuva Kendras, and then, all these community-based and faith-based organizations and social organizations. Then we did national training of trainers so as to address the vaccine hesitancy. Then Also, national capacity building of, national 1075 and state helpline staff, because the national helpline and state helpline, both of them have got to be aware of, how the information has got to be communicated. Conducting social media briefing for social media messages, like representative of State Information Bureau, IC Bureau. So it is important that you do briefing of all people basically who are representatives of state information as well. Then training of master trainers to do the state and district level sessions, and identify the national level partners, including SB. Basically we are looking at the State Partners Alliance, which is, dealing with the communication, and Interfaith Humanitarian Alliance, Red Cross, to do capacity package, building package to reach their network. So at the national level, you are starting training with the IC officers, you are dealing, you are doing capacity building of your frontline workers, volunteers, Nehru Yuva Kendra and all, conducting training of trainers and all that. And remember that these trainings are not one-time trainings. These are ongoing trainings for which you have to, play a very important role. And then, key actions at the state level also, whatever we do at the national level, now the same thing what we are doing at the state level. And then, you contextualize and you adopt the training modules for IC officers and for planning, implementation, and monitoring evaluation on COVID-19. Then you conduct the state training of trainers on COVID-19 vaccination process, including social mobilization and communication planning. Then you have to also organize training, because you will see that district collectors are in charges. Along with MLAs and MPs, they have to be sensitized about the vaccine. You have to conduct training on social mobilization, interpersonal communication for social mobilizers. Again, we will talk of, municipalities, Panchayati Raj institutions, self-help groups, religious leaders, Nehru Yuva Kendra, and all these people. Think of everyone. Have a 360-degree approach so that you can train everyone. Organize social media briefing for communication officers and managers regarding training of master trainees to conduct state and district level training. At the state level, once we go, then we have to train the district level people also. And then state media analytics and marketing training for social media managers, IC officers, and training of context gathering and development of new messages. Please think that every day we are moving, and so new messages are required. So the same thing when we go down to the district level, we have to do the training at the district platform, and we have to do the refresher training of the frontline workers also. Then we have to look at the block level also, identify online platforms for in-person training platforms for block level training. And then at the block level, again, you will think of all the workers which I have mentioned, frontline workers, community-based organizations, youth groups, and all that. Have interpersonal communication with the frontline workers, organize sensitization workshops and all. That is very, very important. So another thing is that always engage your local media, international media, social mobilization, and have a community engagement. For COVID-19 vaccination rollout, our media and social media will be playing a critical role in long run. So you must see that your key stakeholders are media houses at national level, news channels at national, state, and regional level, senior editors and health education and business journalists, and media from the regional dailies also. So, you talk about media at national level, media at the state level, and you talk about the involvement of editors and all. Every time you get an information, and every editor is curious to know what is happening with regard to vaccination in Delhi, Assam, Uttar Pradesh, and all that. And then you have to also involve media from the regional dailies and all. So that's where we have to, at the national level, your action is that you have to have a media response cell, and then you have to use all forms of media when we talk of print media, electronic media, digital media, and all that. Another important thing is that you have to have a proactive messaging. You're building a positive narrative around the vaccination. That means through radio, through community radio, through articles, through very simple content, you have to build a media narrative and build frequently asked questions and talking points which will be addressing the queries of the people. And you must be beware of any kind of fake news. So that is important part which you have to remember. And build a positive public discourse. Every time talk about positivity. Every time what we are seeing, the negativity around us, with regard to vaccination, with regard to the disease, that has got to be discouraged. Then, again, the same thing what we are doing is that National Media Response Center, has to be established at the state level, and then we have to see that how we inculcate the vaccine confidence. That is very important. So these things are the ones which will be very important, and you work with the script writers to incorporate messaging on the prioritized and hesitant groups. So that is important that we tell the script writers that you must write something to address the hesitancy. That is there. Hello? Yeah, I'm in a meeting. I just talked. So that is where, and then in development of positive stories and testimonials from beneficiaries, that is important. Then the same thing what we are doing at the state level, we have to do the, publications, monitoring, social media handles, social listening insights at the district level. Engage media to establish vaccine confidence, that is important. Media must be there together, whether it is print, electronic, and all, to instill vaccine confidence. And you must disseminate human interest stories at the district level and talk about positive experiences. And have the district level influencers, celebrities, MLAs, doctors, faith healers, and all to talk, something, which is informative about the vaccine. Then you need to do a proactive WhatsApp messaging also about, whether we talk about from the RWAs or school principals who can counter misinformation. So WhatsApp is a very popular platform that is there. Then you need to also talk and engage international media, also during the vaccination program and also after the vaccination also. So after the vaccination, you can arrange interviews with the group workers who are involved in success of the campaign and pitch human interest stories of people who are inoculated. That's why I think आप में से बहुत लोगों को पूछा होगा during the vaccination that what was your experience regarding the vaccination? What will you like to tell people? Please, put your picture in the WhatsApp group. So that is very, very important thing. So that's how. And then another important thing is that we have to manage crisis which is emerging from adverse events following immunization. So, this will lead to major hesitancy, and which can be a result of rumor, which can be a result of कि हमको कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, and people from certain geographies may be indulging in more, disinformation and more misinformation campaigns. So that needs to be addressed also. So few talking points here I will like to be summing up very shortly. Vaccine saves life at every stage of life. Immunization throughout has been a great public health success story with regard to children, with regard to adults. Vaccines provide immunity and protect us and our communities from contracting diseases, any disease for which vaccines are there. It is critical for us to get COVID-19 vaccine when our turn comes so that we can protect ourselves, our families, friends. The vaccination process is phase 1, which we are already aware of. Vaccines have been developed after thorough scientific research. It is true that COVID-19 vaccine has been developed in a short time frame, but it has not been compromising any protocol. No protocol has been compromised. Adequate safety and efficacy tests have been done on the vaccine. And while administering the vaccine, all safety protocols and including COVID appropriate behaviors should be followed and will be followed. And all vaccinators are prepared vaccinators, so they are thoroughly informed. So these are the, some of the I'll say the pamphlets which are available: role of religious leaders, role of influencers, role of social mobilizers, role of volunteers. Everyone has got a very, very important role to play. So some key messages with which I'll stop: COVID-19 vaccine is safe and effective and is available in phased manner. It is already, we are down the line by, 16 January onwards. And then we have to complement it with COVID appropriate behavior at all times. Pre-registration is a must for eligible beneficiaries. Now, again, this has been reiterated. Earlier, we were not given to people who are not registered. In between, we allowed walk-ins. But now, basically, we have again said that people who are registered will come forward for the vaccination, particularly from 18 to 45 years. Registration process is guided by mobilizers and volunteers as and when available. If you are unwell when at the time of your second vaccination appointment, it is better to wait till you have recovered. So we also say that if you have suffered from the disease, it is better to wait for a month and then come forward. And then you should not, basically, if you're self-isolating, then you should not attend the appointment. And COVID-19 test, or you should basically, if you are waiting for a COVID-19 test, then also you should be waiting for some time. And complete schedule of vaccination is important to reduce the chances of person becoming seriously ill. So, we have to see that this activity, there is a toolkit which is prepared, basically which is available at Ministry of Health and welfare, which is, giving correct www.mohfw.in, which will provide you correct information about the vaccination. So go for those sites. Do not be a WhatsApp master. Media engagement is a must in a proper manner. You must harness influential voices from doctors and other associations. Engage influencers, celebrities for interviews. Engaging Google, Facebook, WhatsApp, Telegram to amplify positive messages, and be sure of this. And nip the rumors through chatbots and tracking of social media, and develop the positive stories. And again, the same thing, we do it with the help of MLAs and all that at the state and district level. And we must disseminate stories of human interest. So that is one thing which is very, very important. So I think vaccine preparedness is far more than preparedness. You must know everything about the vaccination. And as I told you, that we have got now, at the national level, active cases are, basically we are talking about 3,84,814. We have got still, discharged are 82%. Deaths are only 1.1%, but we will reduce this. But we have to increase this figure of vaccination of 15 crores very fast. And I'll say that if we are able to at least immunize these many individuals per month, my optimum estimate is that we should go ahead with 30 crores, so that, we require 160 crore doses, very soon, in order to achieve herd immunity, looking at 80 crore individuals. So that is why it is very, very important to look at, how much numbers we are looking at. So this is one thing, and these numbers you should always keep in mind in terms of how many are active cases and all that, how many are discharged, how many are deaths and all that. So these figures also become very, very important for all of you to look at, that every state is fighting with the disease. So, your vaccination becomes, one of the very, very important things, so that, we can go ahead with the vaccination. And because we have got the worst affected states, which are 5 in number, with the active cases, which I already told you, and we do have states, with regard to number of deaths as well. So these are the 5 states with the total deaths. So please remember that we have to protect deaths. So please have a look at, as I told you, about the vaccination data with regard to first dose, second dose, the total administered. But we have to see that we have to increase the number of doses, so that we can immunize 80 crore population, at approximately 80% of the individuals, into 2 doses, 160 crore doses. So thank you very much with regard to this. And I feel that all of you got some sense of the, communication strategy addressing vaccine hesitancy, and the slide presentation will be shared with you. And please go through it, word by word, because everything is very, very important at this point of time. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for giving widely covering this particular topic. And you have very well covered the most affected states of COVID-19. The more you space the vaccine, the more is going to be the antibody response. You have talked about the bridge trials, how we can overcome the hesitancy. You have covered about the symptoms of COVID-19 symptoms of second wave of COVID-19, because you can see the different symptoms altogether in the second wave. You have also talked about COVID-19 vaccination side effects and phases of nationwide COVID-19 vaccination drive, and where we stand today, elements of vaccine confidence, challenges of vaccine eagerness, strategies to increase the vaccine drive, strategies to manage the vaccine hesitancy. Also, you have touched about the communication strategy. This is the most key player in this type of vaccination drive, because communication is not what you say, but communication is how you say. That is the most most important thing. And you have talked about the various modes of communication, how you can do. You have also touched upon capacity building of key stakeholders, engaging the international media on COVID, managing crisis emerging from these adverse events. Immunization has takeaways are that the immunization has been a great public health success story, no doubt. Being a public health person, we know that vaccination saves lives in every stage of life. It provides immunity and protect us also and other communities also. I think if I have to summarize at the end, the lessons learned is that we are in a trying circumstances and we don't know what future holds. We need to prepare for the worst case scenario and hope for the best. We should consider healthcare as an investment and not as an expenditure. And this vaccination drive is a great example for healthcare investment. We don't grow when things are easy, but we all grow when we have challenges. This is a challenging time, ma'am, for all of us, and we know that tough situations do not last long, but the tough people do. So all of us have to face this battle together. I would stop here, ma'am, because there are a lot of queries and questions on the question answer chat box. Question answer box. I would request you to take over those things one by one.
Yeah. So which is the best vaccine that is available out there? Every vaccine, whichever you can get, because all the vaccines, are really very good vaccines. So it is important to look at that point. So whatever vaccine you get on a priority, please get that vaccine, and 2 doses of the same vaccine are going to be provided. Now, second question is, we hear that rural India is yet to contribute to ongoing crisis, and it is true that urban area is suffering more than rural, and if so, then do we expect the stress to increase in tier 3 cities because of rural? Yes, definitely, that's a very big challenge, and we must at all costs, vaccinate people in tier 3 cities also, because once the rural spread is there, it will be a big challenge for us. Given the heterogeneous nature of population, we are bound to have mutations, which are already there, let me tell you. And how much will the vaccine prove to be effective against emergent mutant strains of virus? As of now, the vaccines are effective. But gradually, you see, when we get double mutation, triple mutation, the companies have already started looking at, the mutant strains, and that's how, we will be able to, address the mutant strains also, because it may be, the time may come when the vaccines, like flu vaccine, we change the strain every year. So it is important. Will the vaccine give life protection? No, we cannot say this, because still we don't have experience. Maybe every year we have to change, we have to get a booster. So that is important. So as of now, we cannot say like that. So if we have to go down to, so few of your colleagues got infected after the first dose. It is possible. Some of them, they should go for the second dose, and few of them may get infected after the second dose also. But remember, the infection is going to be milder in nature. You don't require hospitalizations. Another thing is that as I told you, the gap between Covishield and Covaxin is not the same. Covaxin we can give after 6 weeks, but this we can prolong it. Covishield can be given up to 12 weeks. 8 to 12 weeks is the time. Government has kept the time of 8 weeks so that all of you can come forward for the vaccination. And some people are being charged, definitely. So there is no advantage of that, because the prices are very, very nominal. Let me tell you, it was 350 rupees or something. So, which is, everything is being put very, very transparently. Please go by whatever is there in the media, whatever is there in the papers, and go by that information. Do not get caught by, that so-and-so can charge you 700 rupees and all that. No. As of now, what we are talking is 250 rupees for the vaccine, where 150 rupees goes to the government and 100 rupees will go to the vaccination point. But now with the vaccination, more vaccines coming, the government facilities are going to provide vaccination free of cost, and state governments have also, told about the free vaccination to 18 to 45. Majority of them have come up with this information, but private sector will be charging, and already it is there in black and white how much would be the charge of Covishield and how much would be the charge of Covaxin. So please have a look at that, because yesterday only the negotiations went on for further reduction of the prices. Okay, So another thing is that primarily, can we take second dose of vaccine if any person contracted COVID-19 at the time of second dose? As I told you in the beginning only, that when people, are getting the second dose, we are not testing, basically for RT-PCR. Quite a number of times, there is some this thing that somebody will like to answer. I could not get over here. Yeah. No, there was what do you think? We have an oxygen crisis because of everything is because of supply and demand. But one thing which you have to keep in mind, that as of now, India did not have much of oxygen crisis. Number one. Number two is there is lot of hoarding of oxygen. Please see that don't hoard any oxygen cylinders and all in your clinics or in your private setups and all, because we will need the oxygen. Please give it to the person who has the need of oxygen today. So that is because of the, we have to see that our supply and demand has also to reflect our national character. And if, let's say, by, I'll say, if we have lost somebody, there is oxygen remaining, there is remdesivir remaining, please give it to the people who are in need of that today. And please make sure that, for addressing the oxygen crisis, we have also come out with a home management program also, and make sure that the person lies in prone position and all. If there is availability of oxygen that can be given at home, that should be done, but you must be in touch with the private provider. Now, right now, we are not giving vaccination to the pregnant women. It can be given to the lactating mother. Now, another thing is that primarily, I would like to know when to take the shot of the vaccine after contracting COVID-19 infection. At least you must wait for 30 days. If you have, got the infection, also it will depend upon. If you have got the first dose of vaccine and then you have got the infection, you can delay it for as long as 3 months also. Because now in a way you have got 2 rounds of, basically the, your immune system has been boosted twice. So it is important you can space it for as much as 3 months. But most important part, I will say that follow COVID appropriate behavior. That is another important thing which you should remember. Then you see, it is correct that second wave is impacting younger population, because now we are dealing with the mutant strains. Now the latest Lancet paper says that the virus is airborne, or it is aerosol, this thing. So virus remains for a longer time in the air. So that's why we have got the concept of double mask and all that. Now, strategy to reach the vaccination to the smaller communities in the villages, all the vaccination points are displayed in black and white. But the second thing is that if you belong to, those kind of settings, it is very, very important that, your healthcare workers will also know about the vaccination points, and their role is also to inform the people, and maybe you can help, those people to reach the vaccination points. So please be aware. I think awareness is the biggest weapon, in fight against COVID. So please be aware of, and in every district, in rural and urban areas, there is a vaccination point, which is ultimately providing vaccine. So another thing is that can a girl get vaccination during periods? Yes, definitely she can get vaccine during the period. So that is one thing which is very important. And then, please also share this log, would be helpful to spread the awareness. I'm not getting this. So basically, you see, what I told you in nutshell, every package of information will be useful to spread the information. Then another thing is that about the herd immunity, one thing I will like to emphasize at this point is that the herd immunity will only come with the vaccine. Please don't wait for the infections to come. That's why we said that we must vaccinate at least 80% or approximately 80 crores of our individuals with 2 doses of vaccine. That is important. If one gets infected after first dose, this I've already answered. So you can, basically, should they, they should get the second dose. As I said, that after the first dose of vaccine, if you got infected, you can delay the second dose for as much period as 3 months. But even if you take after 2 months, there is nothing wrong in that. So Then another thing is, if a person is affected by psoriasis, can definitely take the COVID vaccine. There is no problem in that. Then do you feel everyone is able to? Yes, definitely people are able to make appointments. And if by chance at that point of time the COVID app does not work, it will definitely work. But then for 45 years onwards, we were already for 45 years onwards, we already permitted the walk-ins, and which hopefully we'll be permitting. So that's where it is important to look at. But right now, as of currently, what we have said is that people who are between 18 to 45 years of age, they will only go by appointments, because so that will be sharing that will be removing lot of burden on the existing healthcare facilities. Then again, another thing is that vaccinating during menstrual cycle can be done, so that is not a problem. Then if the person has recovered from COVID, what is the role of COVID vaccination? Because we do not know whether he was asymptomatically infected, how much was the quantum of infection. So it is important to look at that. As I told you, complete immunity will come with immunization. So that is the role of vaccination. Even if you are infected, please go for vaccination at suitable point of time. As I told you, you can go for, if you have got one round of vaccination, then infection, you can wait up till 3 months. But now we are also getting people who are not being tested by RT-PCR, and next day they find that they are also COVID positive, but they have taken the vaccine. Don't worry. So that is it. Can thalassemia patient get vaccinated? And yes, thalassemia person can get vaccinated. Covaxin is definitely better vaccine for that individual because it is an inactivated vaccine. So that is it. But then, basically you also have to see that people who are suffering from these metabolic disorders or thalassemia-like infections, they must consult their providers before they go for the vaccine. Now, what will be the serostatus of the person if he has taken Covishield vaccine within a gap of 4 weeks? You see, every vaccine is going to give you seroconversion. There's no problem. But as it has emerged from Covishield vaccine, the more we have spaced, the more are the, the more is the conversion of antibodies, the more effective it is. And if we have also found out that if you space it by 12 weeks, it is better that primarily we get the effectivity up to 80%. That is there if we are spacing it by 12 weeks also. Then what is the role of air conditioning? Yes, air conditioner, there is a role of air, and you must avoid primarily air conditioners in this situation must be there in the well ventilated room, which is true for all the I'll say virus or bacterial conditions. So that is important. When should the second dose of vaccine given? As I have already mentioned this. Then what is the next question? If we are not hurrying with the vaccination of 18 to 45, as still vulnerable groups are not completely vaccinated, the death rate is also high in the vulnerable groups. Yes, younger age group is affected with the second strain and they are getting recovered compared to the, yes, definitely you're right. But most important is also that in 18 to 45 years of age group, also we have people who are on dialysis, who are on organ who have received, the organ transplant, or who are, suffering from leukemias. It is very important for them to take the vaccination. But, that's how we started with, first the 45 years above, with the vulnerabilities and all. But you have to keep that in mind, that basically when we are we have to primarily see that we should cover everybody above 45 years of age. They are more vulnerable, but between 18 to 45 also we must prioritize. So it is Eco India IT would like to answer this question live. So this is where I'm on. If there's anybody else, I don't get this. Paramita and Dr. Bhalla, what is the meaning of this? That if they want to answer live, so you can just tell me. If we lapse the second specific time of second dose, will it affect the efficacy? No, it will not affect. Rather, it will give us a better distance. So that's where you need to look at that part. So another thing, another question which is there from your side is that what should be the diet when one is you can take completely balanced diet. That is very, very important. When even you have mild symptoms of COVID-19, you must take as much good and balanced diet. That is important. In government and civil dispensaries, where are they? They do not ask for previous comorbidities. No, they may not ask, but it is your role and responsibility to tell them about the comorbidities, what you are having. So it is important. Another thing is that the doctor with uh, doctor, which vaccine is safe in a recipient of kidney, this thing, any vaccine, as I told you, but you must, when you are on an immunosuppressive therapy, you must talk to your own provider before you go for the vaccination. मैं मीटिंग में हूँ, मैं आपसे बाद में बात करती हूँ. Then what is the contraindication? There is no contraindication for the vaccine, and but if you are on blood thinners and all, they might be stopped for some time. That is important. After how many time, much time the antibodies are formed, they start getting formed within 15 days of interval, and that's how we have spaced the vaccine up to 6 and 8 weeks and 12 weeks, so that optimum, formation of antibodies is there. Then are there any Indian vaccines which have got better outcomes than Pfizer and Moderna vaccine given in USA? You see, basically now we have got Covishield and Covaxin. For Indian conditions, we require 60% efficacy, because when we are looking at 80%, coverage of population, so that is good enough. But Pfizer and Moderna vaccine, which are giving nearly 90% of this thing, they are definitely good vaccines. But most important part which you have to remember is that you see, we have to look at now the vaccines which we will be able to, through which we will be able to address the mutant. So that is there. Now, how are you addressing the common perception about the numbers given by government versus number on ground? I think this is where the correct information, and this I have to ask Vallabh Shah himself, that, each one of us has to be very honest in terms of, entering the data correctly after the vaccination session. That is where, once all the information is entered correctly on the vaccination platform after giving the vaccine, that's how, when you go, if you have received the vaccine, the vaccinator comes and informs the person on the COVID platform the vaccine has been given. So there is a tick, and the tick becomes orange in color. After getting the first dose of vaccine, I think we have talked about this. If the test becomes positive, then you must go ahead till you complete 2 doses. Then, how many days after the vaccination, if COVID test positive, I said minimum is 28 days after, you test negative. But you can wait for, if you have received 1 dose, then this is your, your again COVID test positive, you can prolong it by 3 months. So these are, I think by and large now the questions are repeating. While growing in India, I looked and believed my teachers and police people. Just a minute. Paramita, can you help me with the questions?
Ma'am, ma'am,
double.
the question is, while growing up in India, I looked up and believed my teachers and the police people. You talked about involving many stakeholders who seem political. Why can't you involve teachers and police to bring your message?
I think you missed that slide where I said that even your teachers, your police people, everyone is a messenger of change. And quite a number of times we wait for the police also, at the vaccination points, that people are not getting vaccinated because they have faith in police also. So police is also one of the messengers of change. Whosoever, let me tell you, in our population, please look at everyone. Even a schoolboy can be messenger of change. Even a teacher can be messenger of change. Even any help group can be messenger of change. Okay. Now, double mask policy, this we have adopted with view of, the mutant strains and airborne transmission of infection. So you have to wear double masks, particularly they are more protective. That is one thing. Who are contraindicated, madam, for what? There are no contraindications for the vaccine. Even G6PD deficient people are allowed to take the vaccine. G6PD deficiency and thalassemia people, they must consult the healthcare provider before they take the vaccine. Otherwise, but there is no contraindication. But information to the healthcare provider has got to be there. Then, yeah. there are not much reports of COVID-19 in children, but now there are reports because we are dealing with primarily, mutant strains which have got predilection for children. If there is any history of drug allergy, please don't change it fast. I cannot read it. If there is I have missed that question. If there's history of allergy, please inform the provider. But also we say that take a tablet of anti-allergic this thing along with paracetamol for taking the vaccine. A person with heart valve can definitely take the vaccine. There is no contraindication to that. Rather, this is it becomes more of an indication. How long one should wait for first dose of vaccine if got COVID-19? This I have already answered many number of times. Then the person with hemiparalysis and hypertension must get the vaccine, that is there. But then with the history of stroke, do consult with your providers. Are you there on any thinners or something? So the thinners might have to be stopped for a period of time. The person with deranged liver enzymes, let's say he's suffering from acute hepatitis, must wait for some time and take that. But otherwise, deranged liver enzymes may have many reasons for that. So it is important to look at the cause of deranged enzymes and then accordingly go for the vaccination. But I don't see any contraindication for that. Rather, it becomes an indication. Now, grandfather is 83 years of age, having high blood pressure. Yes, he must get vaccinated. That is important because that becomes but his blood pressure also must be addressed. Then clotting is a effect of both Covaxin and Covishield because of the nature of the virus. And then it is important that primarily we must be very cautious while we are giving the vaccine. But clotting side effects are more of these are side effects of these are the properties of the what I'll say the virus itself. So you must be, when the person is suffering from any infection of COVID-19, thrombogenic phenomena is quite very common. So if the person has got a tendency also of the clotting tendency, one must be on blood thinners. If the second dose exceeds the stipulated period of time, if there's any problem, you should still go ahead with the second dose of vaccine. That is important, but that will still boost up your immunity. So it is important that you must be, at any cost, we are not restarting the vaccine that is there. And then what is this question? If you will please spotlight on what would be if the person is suffering from COVID-19. And yeah, this also I answered. There are people who, we detect the next day that they are suffering from COVID-19 and they've got the vaccine. Only thing is that they will have little more, kind of, effects because of the infection. It's something like you have, introduced the, kind of, one is you have introduced the antigen through the vaccination. Second is it is through the infection. And we are getting a lot of cases now because we are not doing RT-PCR testing. So it is important that there's no harm in this phenomena, but see that the person gets at right time the paracetamol and tablets. And if there's any allergic reaction, then anti-allergics can be given. Now, below 18 years, we have right now got no future plan, but definitely we will require because the trials are going on. Then do we need, C-reactive protein test done? It's only when you are, suffering from infection, your provider will tell you about this, because you see C-reactive protein, D dimers and all that will tell you about the nature and the state of infection. Maybe after, let's say you are getting fever on the 6th or 7th day also, then, primarily after, this, if your C-reactive protein is higher, you might have to start steroids. Now, in thrombocytopenic individuals, no vaccine is not contraindicated, but you must tell the provider. And any precautions for HIV patients, it's only you have to tell the providers so that you can get the vaccine in a safe manner. How much is the mortality due to vaccination? As of now, no. And because you see, this is a very, very safe vaccine. I was rather expecting the question that how much is the efficacy, so it is important to look from that perspective. Now, cetirizine can be given as an anti-allergic. Yes, can be given as an anti-allergic. Few employers have started forcing employees to work. That's okay. You see, you have to take the precautions. All doctors are working. All healthcare workers are present. So why there is a problem with another employers? I don't see any reason that the person should not be working. But you must be wearing double mask. You must be maintaining a safe distancing. Do not eat your lunches together. So it is important to look from that perspective. So please look at your workforce, how much they are working hard and how much, primarily they are spending time on us day in and day out. So it is important to look at that. Another this thing is that can a person with this I've already answered. Hemiparalysis, hypertension can get the vaccine. Diabetes can also take the vaccine. In the last COVID test report was given very fast and now takes 40 because you see the number of tests now are too many. You see, you must see that there has got to be rational also. But also I will say that in a family, if one is positive, presume that the other of family members have come in contact with that, and so they should follow proper quarantine or isolation. So that is important. But then only thing is that with regard to COVID testing, now that's how in between, the government went slow so that we can cope up with the number of tests. That is important. And also ICMR has given the guidelines of not doing so much of administrative formalities before giving the report. So we have to see that, the reports are given, without fulfilling the administrative thing. The entry can be done on ICMR platform side by side. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for covering each and every aspect of vaccine. No doubt there are so many queries and questions, but in case it's further any queries will come over, we'll try to post to you. Thank you for very well capturing all the discussions about the vaccine preparedness and hesitancy. It's a need of an hour. On behalf of Eco India family, we are really thankful to you for giving your valuable time for this important topic. All the best, ma'am. Stay safe. Take care. Over to my colleague, Paramita.
And I will be happy to look at whatever is there in the chat box so that we can do that later on.
Thank you,
and I'm sure people have got benefited from this. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Over to you, Paramita.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for such an informative session, and thank you to all the participants who have been patiently listening with us. I'm sure this evening was very informative. So for more such informations, please you can log in again with our next speaker, who is Dr. Shashank R. Joshi, Padma Shri. He would be talking on COVID care tips on May 6th. It would be the same timing from 6 to 7:30, followed by Dr. Sanjay Kalra, who is again would be talking on home management of COVID-19 along with COVID-19 and levels of preventions. Then we have Dr. Zarir F. Urwaria, who would be talking on May 13th. Timing would be 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. He would be talking on again vaccination of COVID-19. Then we have Padma Shri Dr. V. Mohan, who would be talking on COVID-19 and diabetes on May 14th. Thank you once again. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.